Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. Now Freyna did get buffed. For Axion at least, does it make a difference? Yeah, it does. Freyna didn't get any mechanic changes or anything like that. From what I understand, it was purely a numbers buff. So I'm gonna give you my closest thing to being an updated Freyna build for Axion. We've got a few changes here and there, so make sure to keep up. Let's get right on into it. So starting off with the red module for this build, we're going with Venom Synthesis. This is specifically because we are going to be using the bike with Freyna. If you are not using the bike, then I would recommend either Toxic Stimulation or just no red module at all. But because I'm using the bike, I'm going to use Venom Synthesis specifically for this setup. For my maneuvering module, we're going to go with mid-air maneuvering because I do want to grapple around to spread the toxic as well. I will primarily be using the bike, but this is just something that goes in with it as well. Now, let's focus on damage in this setup. For this setup, damage is going to be the main thing. And right off the bat, we are going to go with amplification modules because Freyna does slightly better with non-crit than with crit right now. So we're going to go with the 2 amplification modules. Then instead of running any focus on modules, because we don't really care for cooldown, we care for raw damage in this instance with Freyna, we're going to go with skill simplification. And then we are also going to go with Toxic Master for this setup with Freyna. Next up, we're going to have a little bit more damage, and we're just going to keep scaling this. So Venom Synctium for 10% more toxic skill power, as well as Decimator is going to be another good call. Now, Decimator would work on Freyna slightly better than the critical point breakthrough, even though this is technically more modifier. With Freyna, this spreads so well, and so much so to the point where this is like literally better. So yeah, this is what we are going to be going with. Now, with the other parts of this build, there's only 4 modules left. This is basically as much as it can get for damage. So we're just going to go with skill modules over here. So we're going to go with skill expansion as well as skill extension. So some more range, some more duration. And then we do finish Freyna off with some cooldown over here. And we're going to go with MP conversion as well as nimble fingers. Now, the build might basically be the same, if not 1 or 2 module changes. Like I said, Freyna hasn't changed very much for Axion anyways. For the trigger mod, just to finish up, we are going to go with, where is it? Power Beyond. This is going to work well with Freyna with her first ability, grouping them up, and then with her third ability, also again, just, you know, toxic damage. However, if you do like keeping an eye on cycles and tracking, Cyclic Amplifier would also be a very, very good choice, especially when the abilities hit the right arcade attribute. You can get significantly more damage if you do use Cyclic Amplifier, but the easy mode option is Power Beyond, so that's what we're going to go with in this specific instance. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the reactor. Now with the reactor for Freyna, we are going to go with scout rifle mounting as well as tactical rifle mounting. Now, does the scout rifle mounting matter? Not really, no. For our 3 weapons with this Freyna setup, we're going to be going with the number 1 weapon being the Good Old Secret Garden. The number 2 weapon in this instance is going to be Greg's Reverse Fate, and number 3 weapon is going to be the Last Dagger. Switch these around, I guess, it doesn't really matter, but these are going to be the 3 weapons I'm going to go with. I'll get into them shortly, but let's go back to the reactor real quick. In this instance, for Axion, we just want nothing but maxed out damage. So Toxic and Tech is going to be the only option. Freyna doesn't benefit from crit, so this is it. Toxic Tech is going to be exactly what you want on your reactor. Now for Freyna's external components, nothing has changed here. Freyna still benefits the absolute best from the Plague Set. So Plague Set is still the main thing. On your parts, you'd ideally want max HP, which I don't have. MP recovery out of combat, max MP recovery in combat, and MP recovery modifier. Defense or electric resistance is good on here too. Shield recovery modifier or toxic resistance would be good for here. And across every single one of your components, you want to run max HP as well as defense on your external component cores. Basically as simple as it gets for Freyna's comps. Now let's have a look at the arcade tuning tree for Freyna. So the tree for Freyna is basically the same as well. We are not going to be eating into damage as much, more so setup. Now we're going to go all the way up here. First off, up to toxic cohesion. This is going to allow us to basically cook and do a little bit more damage. Now for her second mutant cell, we're going to go here. We're going to go into firearm crit damage, which will help us with our weapons, and we're going to go into defense neutralization. Defense reduction, and the toxic resistance decrease is going to be good. Toxic resistance isn't the best, but the defense reduction is way better than anything else, and we're going to be going with that. For Freyna's setup, this allows you to just melt, and for once, because of how Axion actually is, the firearm enhancement and the crit damage enhancement from this is genuinely going to help out. So yeah, that's what we're going to be going with for our arcade tuning tree. For our actual weapons, for the secret garden, the stats and everything on this weapon really don't matter. We're not going to be shooting this weapon. However, there's one thing that you definitely need to have, and that's rounds per magazine on your actual substats over 10.7% or 10.6, oh sorry, 11.7% or above is going to give you additional ammo. So that's what you're going to want to do for your secret garden. Other than that, you ideally are just going to want sharp precision shot inside of here to basically allow you to spray faster with the secret garden. That's basically it. For your dagger, this is what I've got over here for my substats, because we are going to be using this with Freyna for the final boss as well. And then with this is the modules I've gone with. Now you could use the dagger, you could use the Greg's, either of it really works. However, I would recommend just bringing 3 weapons anyways, all of them being different elements, just because the way that it works is elemental resistance attributes, they just keep stacking, and you know, the more elements you've got on you, the better. Now with this here, you can see this is my Greg setup. For the final touch on this build, that being Freyna's inversions, what we are going to go with is something that's, well, slightly unconventional, I guess. So we're going to go with number 1, we're going to go with the electric rounds, then we're going to go with the pain suppression, and then we could go with the focus boost as well. Less skill cost is nice. Electric rounds is an odd one, but like I said, we're mixing and matching the elements, and then just a little bit of survivability out of the HP. So that's basically what it is with Freyna. For your fellow, you are going to want to go with the MP dog. I guess it doesn't really make too much of a difference. For the bike or the vehicle, I'm using the Vortex. These are the stats I have on my Vortex. The stats don't make a crazy difference. In Axion, if you do want to do better turns though, I can recommend the Orca as well. This is a solid bike too. These are the stats that I have on this one. So something similar to this, or anything for like acceleration or anything like that, is definitely going to help you out. Now let's get on into some gameplay. So I'm just going to start off with the crater mission. So let's just go with that one. The way I'm going to want to do this immediately is, even before I start the mission, is I'm going to pop Venom Synth, activate that, start the mission, hop on the bike, and then we're just going to jump around, hop off the bike, fly around, and just grapple around is basically the main thing. Freyna does leave a snail trail, so you just basically want to jump and fly around, and then once you see some odd mobs, you can just leave them there. Once it comes to this phase over here, with Freyna you can just keep driving directly into the mobs, jump to activate your third ability. And you can see here, the damage ticks now after the buff can range between a low 60,000 is what I've seen, and over 120, 130,000, making Freyna, well, theoretically more capable than Ines. I don't know how I got knocked off my bike there, but hey ho, we'll take it. I'm pretty sure I just drove over some HP, but I mean, sure, let's go with that then, I guess. But you can see here, just in general, this does work, and you basically just jump and just spread your toxin. The Freyna gameplay style hasn't really changed much. It's just more so numerical tuning that just allows you to absolutely curb stomp everything. Just running and jumping around is all that you're ever going to need with this setup. And yeah, that's basically it. We're just holding the secret garden for that nice tech buff, and you just drive around with the bike. Axion gameplay out here hasn't really changed, but if you are doing a more tighter mission with Freyna, something like, let's say for example, the mission over there that you go inside, that one you might want to scrap the bike and use no red module, or use the toxic stimulation red module to basically allow you to, you know, not need to deal with that. Other than that, just this really. I don't know what else to tell you. Freyna's buffs were basically just numerical buffs, so it's not really reformed the way that you would play Freyna, I guess, is the main thing I would say. Yeah, Freyna's not gone into another realm of holy crap. She's basically just on par with an ace now, I guess, is the main thing to say. But she's definitely a capable Descendant nonetheless. Okay, so we've got this big boy over here. Let me show you the first example of why Freyna's fourth ability is absolutely busted and is very, very cracked. Oh god, this guy's got me. He's got me on the locks, bro. I'm dead. I told you, I'm literally dead. He's got me on the locks. Other than that, you can just ignore him. That's what I normally do. I was gonna just use the fourth ability on him, but screw it, we'll do it at the end instead, because at the end it's funnier. Yeah, you can just keep doing this. Once the formation squad goes down, or once his armor goes down as well, just from passive toxin and damage, then you can just jump onto him and just nuke him there anyways. But yeah, this is pretty much everything you'd expect from Freyna. I play with no HP, but if you want to use a HP mod, feel free. You don't really actually have to. It is what it is. Everyone's got their own preferences, so yeah. There you go. Now he'd get absolutely melted by this. I shouldn't be doing this technically because I've got the boss to kill in a few seconds, but there you go. That's how you deal with that one. Other than that, I've just completely wasted my fourth ability, and now I can't use it on the final boss in a minute. But yeah, for the most part, you see what I'm getting at. Let's just take care of these, throw a bit of toxic over there, finish this odd one off, and then we're good to go. Now with this, same story applies. Just throwing your toxic down, and then we're going to use the dagger first, or we're going to use a different weapon first. Pop our rounds there, because the first time he's not really resistant, and he'll build resistance to this. So let's just make him build resistance to the dagger. In this instance, he will still have resistance to toxic regardless. And then this is where we're going to start using the Greg. The Greg is going to be used, and we're going to be targeting his yellow spot on his head, for example. That's his weak point. We just want to get as much damage onto that weak point as we can, just to like absolutely nuke him. Then over here, one more mag from the dagger into there, and it should break shortly. Oh no, I'm screwed. I'm not screwed, we're fine. Okay, so now the actual main bit, which is using Freyna's fourth ability to nuke the crap out of him. So you just want to pull him around the corner. Hopefully he doesn't do that. Ideally, the best thing to do is just wait for him to not do that. Wait till he starts screaming and then use it. But if you do it this way, it also does work. Once he starts screaming and you get the ripple shockwaves around you, that's like a pretty nice way to take care of him. Other than that, that was a 4.5 minute run. It was kind of scuffed. You could definitely get way better than that. But for the most part, Freyna absolutely did get a nice buff. She plays nicer, she feels better, and yeah, this is the setup that I would use. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, please just smash that like button. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing. I make plenty of videos on the first Descendant, and yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. Peace.